This is one way to glide into the show, and this is another way. We won't hold any punches back to bring you all the net results. Gavin gets the pin for the win, and there's no business like shoe business. Sportsnight is next.
Gavin gets the pin for the win again and again, my friend.
Yes, he does. And there is no business like shoe business.
He's having an outstanding season.
It's incredible.
And the wrestling team is just the top half of their lineup is really doing some magnificent things to get this team going and get them where they want to be. And we'll get to them in a minute.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Stuff to talk about, but definitely the inside position on getting the Northwest Suburban Conference crown back in Coon Rapids.
Yeah, and obviously that's the goal, but that'll be a little bit.
Still some stuff. Yeah, there's still some big battles that they need to get past. We do have a lot of stuff to talk about. Just about everybody in action. We had our cameras all over the place, and we will bring it to you as quickly and as professionally as we can.
Good luck.
Is not very.
Good luck.
We start with the boys hockey team. They had a busy week and started with a visit from Osseo on Tuesday. The Orioles are another team near the bottom of the standings, struggling to find offense. They had just one win in their last 6 games, but they had seen some very strong competition. Cardinals would have to be on their game if they hope to take advantage of this opportunity and end their long losing streak. No score into the second. Josh Aker battling for the Cardinals, but he gets called for the hook. And Osseo takes advantage on the power play. Just 9 seconds in, shot from the point off the post. Danny Ellingson right there to poke home the rebound, and Orioles are on the board. Still 1-0 late in the third. Derek Avery on the forecheck. They go awkwardly into the headboards. Avery called for a rough. Orioles strike on the power play again. Carson Strike streaking down the wing. Slips a wrist shot short side to make it a 2-0 lead. Osseo outshot the Cardinals 45-12. The Cardinals with a chance at the end pull the goalie. They just can't get it to pay off. Osseo not able to get one in the open cage, but they hold on for the 2-0 win, handing the Cardinals their 8th straight loss.
Well, they kept it close. I mean, they did, and unfortunately, they couldn't get a tally. But again, just a couple of goals against them. That's at this point could be a win at this point.
Well, the netminders have done a nice job of keeping them in games. 43 saves and just 2 goals allowed in that one for Connor Wise. On Thursday, the Cardinals took on Armstrong Cooper. The Wings actually dropped down to be a single-A team this year. Didn't change the result. They pounded the Cardinals out, shooting him 62-13. If you look on the hub on the scoreboard at the end of the game, it was 63-10. Either way, Aaron Yund did a heck of a job. He had several masterful saves and kept the Cardinals in this one. Late in the second period, 3 minutes left, they got kind of a controversial goal. It was waved off initially and then overruled by the center ice judge. That gave the Wings some momentum. They scored 2 more late in the period. They had 2 more in the third on their way to the 7-1 win. On Saturday, shot differential is even worse. That is not a typo. Connor Wise made 47 saves, gave up 7 goals. And yes, the Maple Grove Crimson outshot the Coon Rapids Cardinals 54-1. The one shot coming shorthanded with 2 minutes left in the first period from the top of the circles, a relatively harmless save for the netminder. And I give it. Maple Grove is a really good hockey team. I mean, they're ranked number 5. And you could see it, even though obviously the Cardinals not on that same level, but you could see why. They move with speed, they move with purpose, they pass, they catch, they stay wide. They ran 3 different forechecks, one line after the other, so it really confused this Cardinals team, and they just didn't get a chance to touch the puck.
Yeah, granted, they're a very good team, but you have to get more than one shot on goal. I mean, you just have to. You know better than anybody, Joe Yund.
It's hard to get wins if you're only putting one puck at the net. Cardinals hoping a little bit softer competition from Red Wing coming in on Tuesday will help them. You know, they need to find something to get that confidence back, get a little spark, get their legs moving. They're at Champlin Park on Thursday. The Rebels not quite the powerhouse they normally are, but still a lot for this Cardinals team to try and handle.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get that win against Red Wing, I mean, that's going to mean a lot because they're obviously more than struggling at this point in the season, and they need some sort of positive momentum.
They do, and they really just need to find a way to start believing in themselves and play the way that they can, and go out there and just have fun and find out just how much better they play when they're out there just having fun.
Let's hope that happens. Well, the girls hockey team also started last week with a game against Osseo on Tuesday. The Bluebirds are looking to finish the last few weeks of their schedule strong. The Osseo Park Center team was sitting at .500 and coming off its first conference win. They were guaranteed to give CPCR all they could handle in a battle that would go right down to the bitter end. Bluebirds forcing the action early on. Anna Bezcalo skates it behind the net, finds Brooklyn Johnson crashing in for the one-timer. Champlain Park Coon Rapids on the board just over a minute into the game. Well, most of the action, that was on the offensive end, especially in the first. Elia Johnson only saw 2 shots in the opening period and 15 in the game. CPCR, meanwhile, keeping a lot of pressure on Osseo Park Center goalie Cameron Mayer, and she was up to the challenge and kept her team in it to the very end. All they needed was one bounce, and they get it in the final minute. Haley Elkos races to the corner, spins and plays it forward. Crowley Kramer redirects, as you saw there on the backhand. OPC able to find the equalizer and force the game to OT. In the extra period, Grace Hanula starts the rush to Bezcalo for the shot at stop, but Brooklyn Johnson is there for the rebound. The second of the game gives the Bluebirds a big win, their 6th victory in their last 8 contests. A nice win for them.
Yeah, and they've got a couple in the extra period this season. It's fun to see some of the more getting some more scoring from the second and third lines.
They need that
as they get deeper. And this is a team that they've seen a lot of really, really good teams, obviously, and over a conference opponent is number 1 in state, but a team that competes night after night. And looking at their section, they've got a good chance to be a high seed.
They do.
And make it a legit run at a conference title and maybe a state berth.
Yeah, they're having another nice season. Had a good season a year ago. Having another nice season as they're getting the wins and doing the things that they need to do.
On Saturday, the Bluebirds taking on Dodge County. Get a win there as well. 4-3 the final. Delaney Johnson had 2 goals. Molly Terabeza 2 assists. Erica Tyson and Brooke Del Castillo had the other goals. 31 saves for Elia Johnson in the victory. They're now 12-7 on the season. Really rolling in the new year and hoping to keep it going, but a very, very tough test this next couple of games. They host Maple Grove on Tuesday, and I wrote Blaine in there, but I'm pretty sure it's Blake. It's Blake, the Blake Bears. So 2 highly ranked teams. They will definitely be tested this week.
Well, and those are good tests for them, too. Obviously, they're playing well, and they're winding their season down before the section playoffs, so they want to play some of those teams that are good competition for them to continue to improve.
Well, that is definitely a couple of teams that will bring good competition. Yes. Well, the wrestling team took a big step last week toward claiming their first conference title in more than 5 years. The duel between the Cardinals and the Anoka Tornadoes frequently determines the champion in the Northwest Suburban. And on Friday, the Cardinals had a huge come-from-behind victory over the Tornadoes to win the Battle of the Golden Shoes for the first time since 2013. Tornadoes really strong at the lower weights, and they use it to build a big lead. Anoka won 5 straight matches from 112 to 138. Carter Band's pin at 120 helped them to a 22-3 advantage. Cardinals turned the tables after that. Alex Kowalczyk stopped the bleeding with a decision at 145. And this is Dalen Jones getting an extra team point with a 16-6 major decision. Home team was just starting to gain momentum. Demetrius Seals, great toes to get the takedown, one of his 4 at 160. He gets the victory there. Goes on to the 12-6 win. Every point was critical in this battle. Pivotal match at 170. In overtime, Zach Thomas couldn't break the grasp, and that's because it was an illegal clasp of the hands. It was the only point scored in that overtime, and it gave him the victory and kept the momentum going. This is Jaden Van Vickel with the half Nelson. Doesn't get the pin, but does get a solid 8-2 decision. Lead down to 3 as we move to 195. Eric Ramos gets in deep, uses his strength to get a takedown late in the third period, and it was the difference as Ramos held on for a 4-3 decision. 6 straight for the Cardinals were tied at 22. Anoka dropped third-ranked heavyweight Tyler Nebling down to 220, hoping to get a pin on Riley Hargrave. That wasn't to be. He wins 9-2, but Hargrave avoids any bonus points. and this poor kid got sent to the Wolves. Gavin Layton getting a pin on his man in just 15 seconds, and that gives the Cardinals the 28-25 win. And it's kind of how they knew it would happen is they hoist the golden shoes, bring them back to Coon Rapids High School for the first time in 7 years. It's kind of how they knew it would happen. They knew that with, I think they have 4 or 5 guys straight in a row from 113 up that are ranked wrestlers, ranked in the top 10. They knew that they would be hard-pressed to just keep it as close as they could. And they only gave up 1 pin and 1 major decision over that stretch. That was a big victory. Then you get all the way back to the tie, and they drop their third-ranked heavyweight down, knowing that if he gets a pin on Hargrave, then even with a pin by Layton at heavyweight, Anoka would get the win on tiebreaker. So they sent him out there going, you pretty much have to go out and get a pin to win. Because the kid they sent out at heavyweight, they knew was not going to be a match for Gavin Layton.
No, and I like the strategy by Anoka, knowing that's the way to do it. But I think the hero of this thing is Hargraves. I think the fact that he lost 9-2, but he stayed out of those extra points. And
for a second there, he had the first takedown.
He did
on a headlock. Yeah, he just couldn't get the angle over enough.
It was fun
to get some back points. But yeah, absolutely. I think that was huge. Showed no fear against one of the best wrestlers in the state at a higher great game of battle all the way through.
He did.
But also all those little guys who went in, same thing. They went into their matches knowing they were up against some of the top guys in the state, and their mission was to stay off their back, and for the most part, they avoided team points very well.
Yeah, we chatted with Coach Adams right before the match, and he said, we know we're going to be down early in this match, but it's just a matter of how the guys wrestle and how we battle back, and they did.
And then you look at how many close duels there were up in those upper middle weights. You had the overtime victory by Thomas was gigantic. If Ramos, if he doesn't get that takedown late in the third period, that goes to them as well. Any of those things happen, and it could have been different, but it didn't. It goes in the Cardinals' favor. They took that momentum and they got right on the road on Saturday, going to Stillwater for the Stillwater duels. And they took on a Faribault team, had a very tight match with Faribault, but they come out with a 36-35 win. 4 pins in that match from Lattery, Kowalczyk, Seals, and Hargrave. Then against Stillwater, number 2 in state, Cardinals did not get the result they had hoped for, but they battled, again, one of the best teams in the state, Ramos and Hargrave getting some pins. And then you look at Gavin Layton.
He's pretty good, by the way.
Forfeits in both of the first 2 matches. He gets a pin in 42 seconds against Hudson. Hudson ranked number 6 in state in Wisconsin, by the way, and the Cardinals crushed him. There are your 4 pins with times. But Gavin Layton traveled all the way to Stillwater, wrestled for 42 seconds.
Yeah, no, not bad. Hey, all in the day's work for Gavin.
So, but some nice results. Cardinals cruising and putting up good numbers against very good teams. And this is a team that, they were a little bit underrated at the beginning of the season. I think some of the guys would like to stay that way, while others are, I think, feeding off of the fact that they're getting a little more respect now.
Well, when the first rankings came out, they weren't even in the lean and mean,
nope.
and they've been able to wrestle up and now ranked number 10 in the last poll. So, I mean, this is a team that is really, didn't get that respect in the beginning, but certainly has earned it as the season's gone along.
Well, they have not clinched the Northwest Suburban Crown just yet. Still a handful of matches they have to get through, and they get 2 of them on Friday. They're at Champlin Park for a tri-meet along with Maple Grove. Then they'll be at the Eastview Invite on Saturday. That's an individual tournament that is, again, going to bring in some of the best wrestlers in the Metro and in the state of Minnesota. So a big weekend coming up for them. Gymnastics team, after having a couple of weeks off for the holidays and into the new year, got back on the mat against Blaine on Saturday, and they come up short. Blaine scored a 134.5. Coon Rapids just under 124. Little disappointing since they put up the 131 just before they went on that break, but they are confident that the scores will rebound. Cassie Rushmeyer had the best finish of the day for the Cardinals, 2nd place on floor. Aaliyah Vu was 3rd place on the vault. Cassie Rushmeyer also 5th place on the vault. Jones was 6th place on the beam. Vu and Dieters were 5th and 6th in the all-around, respectively. This week, Cardinals at Champlain Park tonight, and Centennial there as well. So a tri-meet happening tonight over at Champlain Park. Then they're at Osseo on Thursday.
And we have a camera there tonight, so we'll have highlights next week on Sportsnight.
Well, there you go.
Look at that.
There you go. Swimming and diving team. Couple of big events this past week, and it started with Centennial. That is, Jenny and Tomboy and Rowan Tom did not score for the Cardinals in that one, but they did not. They did not, but the Cardinals did score the victory, 96-90.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good if they were able to score and swim and play basketball at the same time. You know, it's amazing.
I don't know how you score 14 points in swimming, but apparently they found a way to do it.
Couple of layups.
Yeah.
Three-pointer.
Laps.
Yeah, a couple of laps. Well, the Cardinals were right back in the pool on Thursday, this time traveling to take on Spring Lake Park Panthers. The Cardinals were hoping they could keep momentum going as they took on one of the top teams in the conference. The Cardinals' strong medley relay team gets them off to a good start most nights, and Thursday, that was no exception. Matt Struess, Tyler Schultz, Devin Sabby, Ethan Warmack put together a great race to take first place in a time of 1:47:03. See, good job there. Cardinals also, they can count on Schultz to put up some first place points coming up here. Goes in the 200 IM, winning the event in a time of 2:02.10.
It's always nice to have those Schultz kids in the lineup. They're doing nice
absolutely.
things.
They do really nice things in terms of like they're winning, touching the wall in first. Then junior Jack Simmer continues to sizzle on the board for the Cardinals. Reverse double somersault, part of a season high, 2:05.25. Another first place finish. Good job there, big smile. How about Schultz going for the gold again, this time in the 100 breast? He gets the win there in the time of 1:01.79. But the Cardinals, unfortunately, they're going to come up short against the Panthers. They're going to lose this meet by a score of 95-86.
Yeah, and the word we got from Coach Doug Donaldson was that while they would have loved to have gotten wins against both, it was nice to get a win against Centennial. It's a team they really haven't seen a lot,
right?
So they didn't have a really long history with, but it is the first victory to his knowledge against Centennial, so we'll take it.
Absolutely,
no matter how short that history
doesn't matter.
is. And then you look at Spring Lake Park. Spring Lake Park is a team that's swimming with those top teams in the conference. So to give them a battle was good, but you look at it again, plenty of first place finishes. It's getting that second and third scoring swim in a single event that's going to make the difference between where they are and knocking off some of those bigger teams.
Well, and again, it's all about improving your times as the season goes on. You saw, Jack Simmer with a nice result there in diving, and obviously, Schultz with a couple of wins there. It's the guys are swimming well, and they're continuing to improve.
Yeah, they are at Park Center on Thursday, and then the Cardinals will host the Section 7 AA True Team Section Tournament at Northdale Middle School Pool on Saturday. The Nordic ski teams had a couple of events last week, starting with a 5K Classic with the Northwest Suburban on Wednesday. The weather hasn't been ideal, but the season rolls on. Hard-packed and icy snow, after all, is better than having no snow. And the kids are showing resilience and improvements as they move through the schedule. We start with the boys. Sophomore Josh Thoen is already having a great year, and he has the best showing for the Cardinals in the 5K Classic. He finishes third overall with a time of 13:53. And he isn't alone in putting up good times. Junior Ricky Petroff made it to state as an 8th grader, and he wants to get back there again. He finished 7th overall in 14 minutes, 11 seconds. Jared Haida, one of the Cardinals' senior leaders, and he has a strong race at Elm Creek, finishing 16th in 15 minutes and 4 seconds. Next couple of times are very close. Sophomore Ryan Powley finished just a second behind Haida in 17th, and Miles Gilliard was 22nd place in 15 minutes and 24 seconds, helping the Cardinals to a second-place team finish. On the girls' side, no surprise at all to see how Abby Ellenbecker did leading the way. The senior star added another first-place finish to her resume, getting to the finish line in 14 minutes, 44 seconds. Sophomore Lila Gilliard also had a nice showing in the Conference 5K. She took 7th overall with a time of 16:46. Junior Josie Ingvoldson is showing improvements every time she takes a course. She shows why on Wednesday. She's in the middle of the pack, finishing 27th. 1950. Sophomore Kayla Lowe also moving up in the rankings. She finished 36th in 2042. And Isa Hoagland was the 5th to score for the Cardinals, taking 43rd place. As a team, Cardinals finished 4th in this of the 6 teams competing.
Great results, obviously. You know,
a little bit of snow starting at the beginning of this week.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to be the kind of layery, fluffy stuff they need to get.
Snowing right now.
It is.
We'll see how it goes. We're not supposed to get a lot.
Yeah.
But maybe enough.
Well, we'll take anything they can get. And they groom those trails pretty well, so it's better than what you see on the sidewalks.
Correct.
Or just off the sidewalks, obviously. But with the way the season started, every year we talk about the weather and how it hasn't been ideal. But as far in the last 10 years, this is probably the best year weather-wise that they've had. It's snow since the beginning. It's stayed cold. They haven't lost all the snow.
No, it got a little icy in spots, but you're right. They haven't lost anything, and they've had some additional snow as well.
So on Saturday, the Cardinals taking part in the ABC relays. I think there were 11 teams competing in this. No, it was more than that. It was like 25 teams competing because there was like 50 results. I don't know. There were a lot of teams. It's a big event from all over the place. Some of the best teams in the state were there. Important thing to note is the Cardinals A relay team of Thoen and Petrov on Classic and Christensen and Haida on Freestyle finished 7th place in a tie with a total time of 28:38. The B relay finished in 16th place. Pauli Martinek doing the Classic and Casey and Miles Gilliard handling the Freestyle. They finished with a time of just over 30 minutes. On the girls' side, A relay finished in 11th place. That was Lila Gilliard, Kayla Lowe, Abby Ellenbecker, and Josie Ingvoldson. And then the B relay of Isa Hoagland, Kerr, Hoagland, and Noid finished in 29th place with a time of 45 minutes and 36 seconds. Up next, they are back in Elm Creek on Tuesday for a 5K skate with the Northwest Suburban Conference teams. And then the Northwest Suburban Conference Pursuit is next Tuesday and Wednesday at separate courses.
Good stuff coming up for them.
And we're hoping that the weather will cooperate.
I think it
should. A little bit.
I think it should.
I really like I like the skate race. To me, it seems more active, and I might be able to actually do that. Don't take my word for that. But I really love the Pursuit.
I want to see it if you do.
I really.
You've always loved the Pursuit.
Make sure that we get a camera there so
yes,
that I can fall down
please.
Like you do when trying to take a half-court
yes,
shot.
Yes, please.
Oh. The Alpine ski team had its second race this past week, and the most exciting part of this is the girls' team has enough to have a full team for the first time in the last couple of years. So the numbers are good for both boys and girls teams. The boys team finished in 7th place. Reed Smith was the top finisher. Sides right behind him. Nico Tweedy in 30th. Del Frat in 60th. 74th, 5th, and 6th place also go to the Cardinals. Van Orman, Chesser, and Wild. On the girls' side, a 6th place finish. Emma Bolin, a top 10 finish. Nice to see. 8th place. Overall, a time under 1 minute for the combined race. Verbeek in 28th, Robidoux in 38th, Vossen in 59th, Hafferman 71st, Sides 74th, and Verbeek in 76th.
Take a breath.
The Alpine ski team will be at Trollhagen for race number 3 on Thursday. They are back at Wild Mountain next week. See if I can just kind of catch up here. Oh, that's where we are. Boys basketball. There it is.
There we go.
Cardinals started their week by taking on Spring Lake Park on the road on Tuesday, and the Panthers roared loudly, beating the Cardinals 81-49. Talon Elmy with a team-high 12 points. Jordan Doe had 11. Aurelius and Gallimont both had 9, and Osayame chipped in 6 in the loss.
Well, the schedule, it didn't get any easier. On Friday, the Cardinals welcomed division-leading Champlin Park to the Fieldhouse. The Rebels were 5-5 on the year, but they were undefeated against teams from the north. The Cardinals were hoping they could spoil that record and break out of their own funk at the same time. Game going back and forth early. Talon Elmy with a dangerous cross-court pass, but he finds Jordan Doe with an open look. He hits the three, and it's tied at 11. This one stays tight and keeps the fans on their feet. Great slashing move to the lane by MJ Galama. Scores the left hand. It's a 2-point game at the half. Champlain Park able to build a lead early into the second. Good movement to find Gerald Walter for the three-pointer. Good movement again, half court by the Rebels. This time to find Cooper Olsen sneaking underneath for the reverse layup. Rebels trying to run away with this one. Now, the Cardinals would keep them close all night. Another great move to the rim for MJ. He had 12, one of 4 Coon Rapids guys in double digits. That's just not enough. Champlain Park built the lead early in the second half, and they maintain it at the end. Olsen again underneath. Tucks it home, as you saw, with both hands. Rebels hold on for the 73-63 win.
Yeah, Cardinals looking to find some traction after a decent start. Things sputtering a little bit. A good close matchup with Champlain Park after the Spring Lake Park one got away from them a little bit. But there's always hope for the future. Cardinals at Anoka on Tuesday. They host Blaine on Friday, and those are rivalry games. You can always get up for those.
Hey, and we'll be there. We will be there Friday night.
On Howie?
We'll be there.
All right. Moving right along. After breaking a long losing streak with a win over Southwest, the girls basketball team hoped to build momentum as they return to conference play. But that is not so easy to do. Cardinals hosted Spring Lake Park on Tuesday, a team that had won 4 of their last 5 and posted an impressive 8-3 record. Cards would have to be on their A game to try and stay close. Cardinals get exactly the start they wanted and needed. Ella Georgie boxed in down low, kicks it out to Nicole Post. She hits a 3 to start the scoring. Home team setting the tempo early. Another big shot from the perimeter. This time it's Sid Kerr from way beyond the arc. Coon Rapids has the 10-5 lead, but things changed dramatically after that. The Panthers score 14 unanswered, and they take control. Taryn Richard with 2 of the team's 4 3-pointers. They lead 37-25 at the half. Cardinals open the scoring again in the second. Fast break finds Ella Georgie behind the defense for the easy basket. The Panthers go on another big run after that. Perimeter shooting a big part of the 19-4 spurt that stretched Spring Lake Park's lead to 25. Cardinals not able to cut into that lead very much, held to just 3 baskets in the final 10 minutes of the game. Grace Henneman had 7 of her team-high 9 in the second half, but the outcome never really in doubt. Panthers have 3 girls in double digits. It's running time at the end, 76-41, the final on Tuesday night.
And I know you and Jen were there that night, and you know, the Cardinals just trying to find some consistency, and I think the biggest thing for them is not those runs that they've been allowing, and those are things that they obviously cannot do, and it's just a matter of trying to put the game together both on both ends of the court, really.
Yeah, and again, they took on Champlain Park on Friday, and they are held to 39 points by the Rebels, a 51-39 loss. Jenny and Tomway had 14 points. Rowan Tom had 11. Ella Georgie had 6. Macy Holland had 4. Cardinals now at 2 and 10. They host Anoka tomorrow, and Howie?
We'll be there!
And then they are at Blaine on Friday, and again, 2 rivalry games against beatable opponents. They just have to make sure they're ready to play and can take the action to them. But that's going to do it for this edition of Sports Night. There's a look at our upcoming coverage. Girls basketball on Tuesday, boys on Friday, boys hockey against Southwest Christian from the Crick on Tuesday, the 21st. But that's it for this edition of Sports Night. I want to thank everybody out there for joining us and continuing to support everything we do here at CTN. For the entire crew, including Howie Shapiro, I'm Joe Young. Say good night.